But let's be honest, when you're buying a ticket to go to the boxing, you want to see a knockout. That's what you're here for, especially if you're going to go and watch heavyweights go and do their thing. That's the thing that gets you on the edge of your seat and gets you jumping in the sky and gets you behaving like a mad person, doesn't it? Let's be dead straight about it. And we were just talking about some of the incredible knockouts that we've seen, both in boxing and MMA. So we'll do the MMA ones a little bit later on. But in boxing, the most brutal thing that I've seen this year, right? And we haven't discussed it actually in our little conversation. The most brutal, shocking thing that I've seen this year was the Fabio Wardley knockout of Fraser Clarke in their second fight. That was just incredible, wasn't it? Absolutely. It was one of those moments where you actually feared for Fraser, obviously, in that particular moment. And we're glad to say that he's recovered really, really well. The way that Turkey Al-Sheikh and the Saudi Arabian health services sorted him out and got him into a hospital and got the operation and got everything sorted for him was just incredible. And it just highlights how brutal this game can be. That shot from Fabio Wardley was just frightening.
Yeah, turning him around on the ropes, hitting him with the left and a big right hand. It was one of those, like you say, it wasn't a knockout. I mean, you never enjoy seeing someone badly hurt, but it was a worrying moment for Fraser Clarke, and it was a delight to see him in the airport the next day with his wife or partner, knowing he was getting on a flight, that he's been treated, that spoke to him personally about it. I remember putting out a little tweet or a couple of tweets with him saying, Fabio, I'm fine, congratulations. Everyone, I want you to know I'm fine. I'm on the way back, still with the fight in him. You know, but like you say, I'd forgotten about that one, and it's almost I hadn't forgotten about it, but they're almost ones you don't want to remember.
Yeah, of course,
because in that moment you are worrying about
the health of a fighter,
the genuine life and death of a fighter in that moment, and that is a genuine feeling. I'm going to throw a couple at you now.
What have you got for me?
Zhilei Zhang
against Wilder,
eviscerating Deontay Wilder, him turning his back on him, and Zhang. But at the time, I remember we were doing the live commentary, and he suddenly turned into a herd of wildebeest, didn't he, Zhang? And he catapulted himself like a herd across the ring, and he smacked Wilder, who was pirouetting out of his view.
He turned into it, didn't he?
And he turned into him and just smacked him, and that was the end of Wilder. And it might well be the end of Wilder in the ring.
Yeah, it was an absolutely frightening knockout. Listen, it's one of those fights that I don't think maybe qualifies as the best thing in the heavyweight division.
It's in the top 10.
But listen, we're talking about knockouts. Just purely knockouts is what we're talking about. Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou.
Oh, I see.
What did you think I was going to mention?
Oh, I thought you were going back over that one. No, the weird thing about Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou, please continue, that right hand, come on, frightening again.
Yeah.
Frightening.
Well, I think a lot of people started to get excited again with Anthony Joshua when he delivers the bomb against Robert Helenius, right? So here we go. He's sitting down his punches. He's starting to believe in what he's doing. And we all saw what Francis Ngannou did against Tyson Fury. So therefore, there was a little bit of jeopardy. There was a little bit of, is it or isn't it? What's the crack here? What is actually happening in this game? Because we all anticipated Tyson Fury to do to Francis Ngannou what Anthony Joshua did to him. It didn't materialise that way. So when Anthony Joshua got in there and literally stepped to it, threw out his jab just as a rangefinder, and then detonated that right hand on the chin of Francis Ngannou. Now, for those that don't know too much about Francis and haven't watched too much of his MMA career, nobody has done that. No. Not even in 4-ounce gloves. Nobody has done that to Francis Ngannou. He has got.
They didn't put a dent in him, did they?
Nobody has done that. Not even with kicks in his head. Nobody's done that.
Not even what's his name? Derek Lewis.
Didn't do it.
And when they faced off and barely threw a punch for 15 minutes.
He's still got to land on him.
It's incredible.
It's
incredible. Think about it. It's incredible.
And Anthony Joshua detonated on him, sank him. He got back fair play to Francis for getting up from the first one, but then he sank him again. And it was just... It's absolutely up there with the knockout of the year.
Can't you? That right hand.
It was textbook. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
It's frightening.
But it was beautiful. I know there's a beautiful brutality to what we're talking about here, but as a knockout, it's picture perfect what he delivered on that night.
Yeah, and then weirdly,
He's on the receiving
He's on
end.
the receiving end of it in September from Daniel Dubois from that first round onwards.
Yeah.
5 rounds of mayhem where he's brilliantly surviving in lots of ways.
Yeah.
I'm using the dog in him a lot tonight, but the spirit in him, the champion spirit to continue. And he fights back in the 5th round. He gets countered by a right hand. That for me, and he's done. He's still trying to get up. But that for me is one of the big knockouts of the year. If you're picking it purely on merit, Joshua's knockout of Ngannou is enormous. If you don't look at where Ngannou is in the heavyweight division, if you look at the pure, like you say, beautiful brutality of a knockout, heavyweights knock people out like no one else.
Yeah,
that has to be up there, and yet he's on the receiving end a few months later.
I think it's the image, isn't it, of Anthony Joshua face first on the canvas off the back of. Listen, he's just had a tiny bit of success there. He's just landed on Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois stung. He's going backwards. But the way Dubois just digs his toes in, throws it, it's a beautiful, beautiful shot. I know that we were speaking about Moses Atauma. The knockout of Dempsey McKean's a belter.
Yeah, it is. That's true. That is true. There's a couple that have kind of gone under the radar that people don't know. Osleys Iglesias, first round knockout of Evgeny Shvedenko, sorry, and Lucas Bardi, 6th round knockage of Ashton Silv.
What about that one on Munguia a couple of weeks ago?
Well, Bruno Serras,
the underdog,
6th round, losing the fight. Jaime Munguia, short chopping punch.
Horrible.
Puts Munguia away from nowhere. Just shows how a fight can be turned round so quickly. In another one in a British ring, Echo Esserman against Owen Cooper. Echo Esserman showing his power, and here's one we haven't really mentioned, and he owned him all week in the build-up, and he knocked him out in the 8th round. Tank Davis against Frank Martin, 8th round knockout in their fight. Brilliant performance. He's just so precise. He's so dangerous, and Gervonta Davis is a guy that we want to see in action more and more because he's such a clean fighter, and he's. Oh, imagine if he was a heavyweight. Imagine if he was a heavyweight, you know? Gervonta, for me, is pound for pound top.
He's in the top 10. No, he's
3, 4?
Not for me. No? He's in the top 10.
Who beats him? Shakur might beat him. I don't see anyone else beating him round all the way up to 147 maybe.
Come on.
All right, 140.
He's tiny.
140 then, 140.
The problem is with Gervonta Davis is that we need to see him fight Shakur Stevenson. We need to see him fight Vasyl Lomachenko. We need to see him fight these guys, don't we? I know that he's fighting out of his weight division because for me, he's still a 130 guy that's just not making 130. He's deciding to play at 135 and 140. If he played at 130, I think he'd mop the division up. He could absolutely mop that division up because of how precise and how technically brilliant he is.
There's another guy who was knocking people out, people that we really rated, Luis Alberto Lopez, who we've seen against
he got knocked out this
the
year,
Josh Warringtons.
He got knocked out badly.
Angelo Leo knocked him out in
Yeah.
an amazing 10th round knockout. That's one worth mentioning as well. I've just got him on my list here as well.
Can we also, we've got to mention the monster if we're not talking about knockouts. His knockout of Luis Nery.
5th round knockout was brilliant.
Listen, if you've made notes on that, YouTube's going to be absolutely rife tomorrow, isn't it? Where you're going through and having a little bit of a look at all those sensational knockouts. There was some brilliant knockouts. Are we going? Which one are we going for? Are we going for AJ or are we going for the Dubois on AJ? Which one are we going for?
I'm gonna go for
Dubois on AJ.
Dubois on AJ. Yeah.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.